हूँ 1 सेकंड 5 सेकंड के बाद लिंक आप लोगों से, और ग्रुप में भी मैं शेयर कर दूंगा व्हाट्सएप पे, ठीक है।
अच्छा, मुझे तो लाइव है, कोई लिंक पे क्लिक नहीं करना।
तुम्हें कुछ नहीं, बस तुम अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन के ऊपर ध्यान दो। ओके
Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of HSEQ Professionals, dear all, we will starting webinar after 10 minutes and share the link to join live 10 minutes. Please start in 2 minutes. Link has been shared with all. Hello, good evening. We will start this webinar after 5 minutes. Assalamu alaikum, HSEQ Professional. Dear all, we will starting this webinar after 5 minutes. Please join us this group. We will start the webinar in 5 minutes. Please join this webinar. Just 3 minutes, then we will start this webinar. So let's restart. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. This is Syed Mohammed Shazib, Assistant Manager Marketing at HSEQ Professional. HSEQ Professional is a US-based firm having head office in Texas, USA, and a regional office in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. We are a well-known company in the field of training, consultancy, and other technical services throughout the globe. A very warm welcome to you in this webinar, which is on the latest ISO release standard, that ISO 41000-2018 version. This standard deals with facility management system and getting demand in organizational sector who wants to improve themselves with some international guideline. You can write your question on your YouTube video chat column or on webinar WhatsApp group during the webinar, and we will note them down and ask the webinar end of the webinar. There is an exam at the end of the webinar. If you will pass the exam with 100% marks, then you will receive the certificate free of cost. I will give you further details related to the exam end of the webinar. Let's formally start the webinar, and I will request our trainer, Mr. Ahmed, to please start the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shazib. Hello, good evening to everyone, and I hope you all are doing good and working safe. This is Ahmed. I will be your presenter for this particular webinar, which is based on the requirements of ISO 41001-2018, which is Facility Management System. This is basically a live session webinar, and it will be followed by some questioning and answering session and one examination as well. So we will do it after this webinar. Starting with my brief introduction, as I told you, my name is Ahmad, and education-wise, I am an industrial engineer, and I have done my MBA in industrial management. Around 9 years of experience in this particular certification, auditing, and training field. I'm a certified lead auditor and lead trainer for quality management system, environment management system, occupational health and safety, facility management system, business continuity management system, guideline of corporate social responsibility, supplier ethical audits, records and information management system, and 55001, which is asset management system. With respect to number of audits, I have performed more than 1600 man days of audit all over the world in different countries, which include Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, UAE, and around more than 2000 man hours of training on different products on different criterias. Basically, what we are going to discuss in this webinar. This webinar is very, very important and value added with respect to get some initial knowledge about this particular standards, its implementation, and obviously its benefits, what benefit it can give to the organization. We will go through towards ISO introduction, 41001 overview, the structure of this management system standards, obviously the benefits of this management system standards, and what you have to do if any organization want to take the certification of this particular management system standard. Starting with a brief introduction of ISO, we all have heard the name of ISO. This is very popular and common name. Basically, the full form of ISO is International Organization for Standardization. This is a NGO. Its head office is in Switzerland, and it is being working all over the world in form of different technical committees, and ISO is associated with 160 national standards institutes of different countries. The purpose of ISO is to publish the standards, the management system standards in different products in order to facilitate the organizations all over the world to implement these standards and get the benefit out of it. So ISO is a profitable organization. This is an NGO, but it is not a non-profit organization. ISO makes profit. They are selling their international standards. When we talk about ISO, ISO has published so many international standards all over the world, and the few of the standards are ISO 9001, which is based on the requirements of quality management system, ISO 14001, which is based on the requirements of environment management system, ISO 45001, which is a recent standard which is based on the requirements of occupational health and safety management system, ISO 27001, information security management system, and ISO 37001, anti-bribery management system. These are the some of them. And if you talk about the total number of standards, you can find the actual number on the website of ISO, and it is like exceeding like 40,000 standards in different domains and on different topics. Now, the purpose and the agenda of this webinar is to discuss some points about facility management system. This is the ISO standard which was first time published in 2018, and it's been given a name of 41001, and this is the first standard related to this topic which was published by ISO. So it was published in April 2018, and it is the first edition of this particular standard. So it is normally called ISO 41001 2018 Facility Management System. This is a volunteer standard because, as I want to give you some information, that every standard which is being published and floated by ISO in the market, these are not the regulated standard, these are the volunteer standards. If any organization want to take the certification, so they can take, otherwise it is not compulsory for them until and unless it is made compulsory to them by their customers. A little bit of introduction of this standard. ISO 41001 is an international standard for facility management system. It provides a framework to develop, implement, and maintain effective facilities management across different sectors. Worldwide benefits include minimizing cost. Now, when we see this definition of the standard, so it is giving a complete framework. First of all, they are saying develop. As per the requirements of the clauses of this particular standard, we need to develop the system, then we have to implement the system. Whatever we have developed, we have to implement it. And what they are saying about maintain effectiveness, when we are implementing, so we need to sustain the system. Whatever the gaps which are coming during the implementation, we have to take the certain actions in order to rectify these gaps. When we talk about the facilities management system, so this facility management system is applicable in different sectors worldwide, because when we talk about ISO standards are not for only one organization. Even they are not for a specific sector. For example, there are two type of big sectors who are working in the world: manufacturing sectors, who are giving the tangible products, and the second sector is the non-tangible sector, which is service providers. So ISO standard can be taken and can be implemented by both sort of sectors, and there is no boundage of the sector. Okay, so any organization can take this certification and implement this management system standards in order to improve their system. Now, when we talk about the facility management applicability, on which industrial sectors this facility management system works. Normally, as I told you, that ISO standards are for every sector of the industry. There is no constraint in it. But there are some high risk sectors, there are some pop-up sectors who are in more need of this type of management system. For example, the construction organizations. For example, the organizations who are already giving the services of management of the facilities of their customers. Manufacturing organization, the organizations who are manufacturing any product, who are using big warehouses, who are using big plants, who are using big equipments, who are utilizing big machineries, big buildings. So this standard is very, very applicable to them as well. Now, when we move towards the last one, which is called a pharmaceutical sector. Pharmaceutical sector is a very critical sector because it needs so much control with respect to the manufacturing guidelines, with respect to the drug authorities, with respect to the pharmaceutical laws. So the equipments, the buildings, the machineries, the tools which are being used in pharmaceutical organization for the manufacturing of the product, it is required that they need to be very, very much controlled at every step of the process. So this facility management system is very much applicable to pharmaceutical organization as well. And there can be a question, why these organizations need to take this facility management system? It gives benefits. Whenever you implement and you apply any management system, no matter it's facility management or any other product, it always gives a benefit. It always gives you a system, and there shall be some outcomes, there shall be some outputs which you can verify, which you can analyze, and which will definitely show you improvement if you properly implement these kind of systems. Facility management is an organizational function which integrates people, place, and process within the built environment with the purpose of improving the quality of life of people and productivity of the core business. When we talk about the word facility and facility management, it is not only about the building, the machinery, the equipments, the IT services. Yes, these are the things which comes under the definition of facility. But who is maintaining them? Who is controlling them? Who is taking care of them? They are the people. They are the people who are controlling them, who are taking care of these facilities. So when we talk about the facility management system, it's the integration of the whole organization towards one purpose. Means the people, the facilities, the framework, the purpose of the organization, the production of the organization, they all need to integrate themselves in order to have a good facility management system. Because if we are saying that we have a one warehouse and we consider it as a facility, so if I will ask you that who is going to maintain this facility, so obviously there should be some people. And when the people are maintaining this facility, so they should be trained, they should be competent enough. So it is the integration of the whole organization in order to achieve the objective of facility management system. Now see, when we are discussing this standard, so there are two key terms. First is the facility and second is the facility management. So we need to be very, very clear on our concepts that what is facility, because there is a, as per ISO, there is a certain domain of facility. We cannot take everything under the facility. So as per the definition, facility is a place, amenity, a piece of equipment provided for a particular purpose. Now, the most important thing in this definition is for a particular purpose. When you are working in any organization, so obviously you have an infrastructure which is called your building. You have some warehouses, you have some equipments, you have some machineries, you have some information technology services like networks, hardwares, softwares. What these all things are doing for you, these all things are installed and used for a particular purpose. And what is the particular purpose? The particular purpose is to manufacture the final product, is to satisfy your final customer, is to achieve the strategic objectives of the organization. So all these things will come into a facility. Facility can be a place, facility can be an area, it can be a building, it can be a equipment, and it can be a machinery. Now, when we talk about how to manage these facilities, what do we mean by facility management? So facilities management encompasses a range of disciplines and services to ensure the functionality, comfort, safety, and efficiency of a built environment, buildings, grounds, infrastructure, and real estate. It includes operations and maintenance, communication management, emergency management, and business. For example, if we are taking the examples of big machineries which we are using as a facility in our organization, what these machineries are doing, these machineries are doing our process and they are allowing us to manufacture our product to deliver it on time to the customer. Now, when we are saying that we need to develop a functionality comfort, for example, we need to train our people, we need to develop some procedures, we need to develop some policies in order to maintain these machines. Two things. First of all, having a proactive mechanism. First of all, we need to do the preventive maintenance in order to have a proactive approach in order to maintain our facility, which is our machine. Now, we should have the emergency plan in place in case of any breakdown happens, because breakdown happens in emergency situation. For example, there is a lot of a production load in our organization and suddenly our key machinery fails. It has a breakdown. So we need to have an emergency response plan for our facilities management as well. For example, if our any one facility is down, is not working, is malfunction due to any issue, so how we are going to handle this emergency situation. So these are all set of people, policies, procedure, functionality, emergency preparedness in order to manage our facilities so that we can achieve our desired strategic objectives in order to satisfy our customer. Now, there can be a question that when these standards are volunteer standards, they are not the regulatory standards. So what are the benefits? For example, if any organization who is implementing this management system 41001 2018, so what benefit they can get from this? So now we will have a look on the benefits. The benefit of an integrated system standard for facilities management include improve workforce productivity, safety, and health of well-being. See, the point is, when we train our people, when we maintain our machinery properly, when we renovate our production facilities, the buildings, the warehouses properly, so this is having a good impact on the productivity and the health and safety of our well-being. For example, if our worker is working on a machine which is not well lubricated, which is not well maintained, it is giving a breakdowns after every 12 hours. So obviously this will impact the productivity of our workforce and also the motivation of our people. And on the other hand, if we have a genuine machines, properly lubricated, properly maintained, and it is running very fluently, so the productivity of the organization increases and it will having a less chance for the health and safety risk as well. Improved communication of requirements and methodologies among and between public and private sectors. For example, when we talk about this ISO 41001 standard, there is a very important clause in the standard which is called communication. So when we implement these management system standards, it gives us a guideline of the communication as well, that how we need to develop the mechanism of the communication internally and for external communication. Internally means the communication which is done between the people of our own organization, and the external communication means the communication which is done from our organization to the external parties. For example, with respect to the legal authorities, with respect to our suppliers, with respect to our customers. Improved efficiency and effectiveness, improving cost, and it benefits the organization. It improves the service consistency. Now here comes the keyword, consistency. Consistency means quality of service for a long period of time. It is not the achievement of the organization to provide a quality product only for one time. Management system standards are saying sustainable approach, continual improvement. So for this purpose, consistency need to be there. And when we talk about the word sustainability, when we talk about the word consistency, so there is a requirement to have a robust and strong management system in place in order so that we can have a grip on our management system, so that the consistency of the quality of our service and the product is maintained for a long time. Providing a common platform for all types of organization. This is the one of the most important benefits. ISO standards are made for every organization, no matter you are manufacturing of chemicals, no matter you are manufacturing of pharmaceuticals, no matter you are giving the service of fumigation, no matter you are extracting the oils, no matter you are manufacturing the bicycles, no matter you are manufacturing the automobiles, no matter you are manufacturing the paints, any sector, service provider or manufacturing in which you are working, you can adopt this standard, you can properly implement this management system, and you can get the maximum benefit out of it. Very important thing, ISO 41001 this model of facility management system follows the cycle of plan, do, check, act. Basically, PDCA cycle is a cycle which was given by a quality philosopher, and his name was Edward Deming. So this cycle was introduced by Edward Deming, and all the ISO standards are focused on this cycle for a reason. Why? Because when you see the ISO standards, there is a one word in ISO standard which is used, it's called continual improvement. So as per the philosophies and textbook, continual improvement can only be maintained and achieved if an organization is following the PDCA cycle. PDCA cycle means plan, do, check, and act. I will give you example. For example, during your facility management system, how you will get to plan your activities. For example, first you identify within your organization what are the things which can be considered as a facility, first thing. Then you will do the risk assessment, you will increase the competence of the people, then you will use the facility management plan to improve that. These all things you will plan. Then whatever you have planned, you will implement. Implement means do. You will implement whatever you have planned, and during the implementation you will check that what is the status of the implementation, what was actually planned and what is actually achieved. If there is any gap in between, you will check and you will take the actions on a weak points, means gaps. So that's how you will complete the plan to check it. PDCA cycle. Always remember one thing, that if you are implementing any ISO standard, if you are not following the PDCA cycle, so this is a very clear point. If you are not following the PDCA cycle, you cannot achieve ISO standard. Simple as this. If you want to achieve and maintain and implement the ISO standard, it is a requirement that you need to have implemented the PDCA cycle.
Uzair, is everything okay?
Hello.
Yes, are hanged. That's why I'm working on it.
If you want, we can share the slide and you can continue then.
Yes, because the my screen
Your screen is hanged. Can I share the slide and then you can continue? Yes, Uzair, please continue. I have shared the slide. Yes, Mr. Ahmad. Hello.
Guys, just stay with us. Just technical issue, some trainer side. Uh, just, uh, just a wait. Be right back. Guys, session will be continue. Just stay with us only for 10 minutes. We will continue, inshallah. Well, guys, class is not finished. After this webinar, um, there's one of exam will after this webinar, and then the criteria. If you will pass the exam with 100% marks, then you will receive the certificate free of cost. And if you will get 15% and above in exams, so you can get the certificate of attendance with a minimum payment, some USD 15K. And after this webinar, you should ask question the trainer. You can write question on YouTube video chat column on webinar WhatsApp group during the webinar. And still, you can write the questions. Hello guys. Just thank you so much for staying with us. Uh, just after 10 minutes we will start. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
now.
Mr. Ahmed. Please continue.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so sorry, guys. There was some malfunction in my connection. That's why we were discussing about the good facilities management system as well. So you have evaluated the practical example of this. Now we were on the slide of PDCA cycle. Can you please go to the next slide? Okay. Now I was discussing with you people about the structure of this 41001 standard. So as I told you that all the ISO management system standards are based on plan, do, check, act cycle. So all the clauses which are put into this standard, every clause is representing the particular phase. Some clauses are from the planning phase, some clauses are from the implementation phase, which is do, some clauses are from the check phase, and some clauses are from the act phase. So here this standard is already a baseline format of plan, do, check, act cycle. When we see the standard, it is starting from the context of the organization, understanding the organization and its context. Context means what your organization is all about, what your organization do, what is their suppliers, who is their customers, what products and services you are providing. So everything about your organization. And then what you have to do, you need to determine the issues, internal issues and external issues of your organization, so that you can evaluate the risk from them. Then very important thing, that you need to determine the needs and expectations of your interested parties and see what they need from you. Scope of the facility management system and the processes which are related to facility management system. Now see very important thing, clause number 5. In every ISO standard, ISO standard and its implementation is useless if the top management is not committed. So this standard is saying that the top management commitment and the top management leadership is required. So top management need to be committed. They shall provide the resources, they should provide the framework, they should provide the competent people. And the very important thing in this standard is they need to demonstrate the accountability. They need to demonstrate the accountability. How? They need to develop the policy, they need to define the roles and responsibilities of the persons who are working in the organization. Then clause number 6, which is called planning. Here, the issues which you have determined in the clause number 4, you need to determine the actions to address the risk related to these issues. Then you will make a facility management objectives and you will make some plans in order to achieve your objectives. You are determining the issues, top management is committed, you are doing the risk assessment. For all these things, there are some support functions which are required. Support function means resources. Resources, who will be the one to provide the resources? Top management. Top management is accountable and responsible to provide all the resources which is required to effectively run the facility management system. Competence. Competent people. Competent people means the ability of a person to work in the facility management system based on his education, skills, trainings, and development. So this is the basically the definition of the competence. Awareness. The people must be aware about their roles in the facility management system. And one very important thing, if anyone is not fulfilling the facility management system requirements, so they also need to be aware about the implications and consequences of non-fulfillment of the system. Then there is a clause of a communication, documented information, organization knowledge. Then we move towards the clause do, operations. In operations, whatever the planning, whatever the competence, whatever the trainings, whatever the objectives we have planned, now here we will be implementing them. We will be coordinating with interested parties here, and we will be integrating our every service here in the do phase. Now when we go to the check phase, we come to know that there is a performance evaluation. Performance evaluation means whatever we planned in the plan phase and then we implement it. Implement it means we do. Now we will evaluate that where is a gap, if there is any chance of improvement, if there is any deficiency, if there is any area for improvement. So we will check and then we will take certain actions, most probably corrective actions, in order to rectify these gaps. And the most important two mechanisms to check the performance of your facility management system is internal audit and management review. Yes, can you please move to the next slide? Yes, Mr. Anas, can you please move to the next slide? Hello. Yes. Can you please move to the next slide? Excellent.
Mr. Ahmed, right?
Yes. Shazib, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, fine. So what we are doing, we are moving towards the next slide, which is facility management implementation steps. First of all, what is the requirement, the initial step to implementation of any standard? The first step is to get awareness about this standard. What is written in the standard? What this standard is talking about? And the most important thing, what normally people have are misguided on the ISO standards. If you read the ISO standard, it is written in very easy English language. So a person can say that I can read it myself. Why there is a need to take training? But the point is, it's not about reading the standard. It's about the interpretation. Interpretation means the true meaning of the clause. So it is very, very important for the people in the organization to increase their competence with respect to the training on this particular ISO 41001 standard. Second step, do the gap analysis in the organization. Do the audit in the organization and see what are the gaps which are present with respect to facility management system. Determine their key issues. Do the risk assessment. Make the facility management plan. Implement the plan and control them. Check the implementation. Review their performance and take necessary actions in order to improve the system. This is the key guideline of how any organization can implement the facility management system into their organization. Yes, can you please go to the next slide? Obviously, when organizations or any individual go to implement this standard in their organization, so obviously there are some challenges, there are some resistance, there are some hindrances in order to implement these standards. Now, what can be the challenges? Lack of understanding of the standard, as I told you before. Internal resistance from employees. This is called the organization culture. Culture of the organization means top management is not allowing you to implement the standard. Top management is not interested. Number four, availability of the resources. Availability of the resources means human resource, technological resource, financial resource, infrastructural resource. If the resources are not properly available, you cannot implement this standard effectively. And obviously the financial challenges. If the company don't have money to invest in the management system, to invest in the people, to invest in the training, to invest in the creation of new facilities, so it is a big challenge for everyone. Next slide, please. Now, as I told you that all ISO standards can be implemented on the organization and organization can take the certifications. Certification means they can be certified by a third party individual certification body. They are the independent bodies and they can get a certificate. They can get a certificate after if a certification body is auditing them. So the certification body examines the facility management system for conformity to 41001 standard. The 41001 standard is a compliance audit. Certification means organization has a documented facility management system that is fully implemented and meets the requirement of the standard. Standard is the ISO 41001 standard, and this audit will be done by a third party independent certification body. And as a result of the audit, when you will close the gaps, when you will close the non-conformities, when you will close the shortcomings, then you will be given a certificate that you are fulfilling the minimum requirements of the standard. Next slide. Very important thing, as ISO standards are very technical in nature due to interpretation, because if you understand it wrong, you will implement it wrong. So the most critical thing as far as my experience is concerned, I will guide you that the awareness and the training courses for this management system standard is very mandatory in order to learn and feel the true intent and true meaning of this standard. So awareness session, internal audit to 41001, and a lead auditor course. So these are the three different frameworks of training which are available, and you can utilize any one of them in order to make you people more competent in order to understand the requirements of this session and to implement it effectively to your organization and have some benefit out of it. Thank you so much from my side, and now we will start the questioning answering session. So Shazib, can you please
Yes,
share with me the
thank you
question?
so much, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you so much for attending this webinar and taking the interest. Now it's time to ask your question with the trainer. You can write question on YouTube video chat column on webinar WhatsApp group during this webinar. The first question is, Mr. Ahmed, you listen to me?
Yes, I'm here.
First question is, how can we apply standard in education facility such as schools and colleges?
Very nice question. Whenever we start to apply the standard, and because we will take school and or colleges as an organization, the word organization will be applicable. So we will be following two things. First, the requirement of 41001 standards, and second, the local law. For example, if we go to the Saudi Arabia local law, so there is a Ministry of Education who have defined certain guidelines that how the building of the schools will be made and how the facilities of colleges will be made. So first we will be having that we are fulfilling the legal requirements with respect to the development of the facilities, and with respect to this legal requirements, we will implement all the requirements of 41001 standard within the school and college, considering them as an organization, and then we have to implement these standards within these organizations. Basically,
Continue.
yes, this standard can be implemented on the educational services provider 100%. As I told you, there's ISO standards can be implemented and can be taken by any organization in the world, no matter what is the sector.
Shall we go second question?
Shall
we go second question?
Yes, please.
Second question, if an industry is not certified from ISO, then any other organization will able to certify that industry in place of ISO or not?
See, two things. When we talk about an organization which is going to certified on ISO, so there is an authority which is only certification bodies have. If an organization is not certified on any ISO certification, so if they want certification, only a accredited certification body can give them ISO certification. No other organization can give them ISO certification.
Next question, how a person can get certification or this certification issue by ISO or any other?
See, there are accredited certification bodies who are working all over Saudi Arabia and all over the world. So there are two types of certification. First is a certification for you, for the person, means lead auditor training, awareness training. And second is the certification of your organization, certification of your management system of the organization. And for both the certifications, there should be an accredited organization, a certification body, or any other organization who is competent to provide the certification, who are accredited and legally allowed, so you can take them from them, no issue.
Next question. Please elaborate how this standard can be implemented on an educational service provider.
For example, as I replied you before that education service provider, we can take the example of college. College is an entity or a facility who is providing the education services. So we will consider that college as the organization, and we will try to fulfill two requirements. The clauses of 41,001, we will implement all these clauses into this facility, and second, the law of land, whatever the requirements which is given by the Ministry of Education Saudi Arabia, we are bound to fulfill all this requirement into this facility.
Next question. What is the difference between BMS and FM?
Basically, I'm not getting the BMS. Is it business management system? Can you please clear?
It's business continuity management system.
Okay. Basically, there is a huge difference. When we talk about the business continuity management system, it is 22301. The philosophy of this standard is your organization is working very good. But in case of any disruption means anything which break the continuation of your business. For example, a natural disaster. For example, lays off of so many people. For example, this pandemic, which is corona. So any disruption which breaks the continuity of your work or production or service or business. So what is the system in place in order to continue your work like before? So this is the philosophy of business continuity management system. And on the other hand, when we talk about the facilities management system is focused on to maintain and properly, effectively run the facilities in your organization to get the maximum benefit out of it.
Next question. Who is the awarding body of facility management standard certificate?
Any accredited certification body.
Next question. What is the age of ISO 14001 in universities?
Sorry, I did not get the question. Age means?
Age of ISO 14001.
See,
when
we ISO 41001 facility management system.
No, it's right. The 14,001.
Can you please clarify the question?
No, it's 41,000.
Okay. See, the point is when not only these schools and colleges, for every organization, when we are taking any ISO certification, so there are so many competitive edges. Number one, you will be having a competitive advantage and a greater trust level by your interested parties. Number two, when any organization and any education institute is certified, it means that they have been audited by a third party competent body. So when my system is being verified by a third party, so people will trust my system a lot. Number three, when we are following a particular framework of a management system standard, so the outcomes will be good. We will be able to improve our system and it will increase the trust of the people and increase the customer satisfaction. So these are the competitive edges if you implement this 41,001 standard.
Mr. Ahmed, one more last question. What is the necessary of ISO 41001 in industry? Does the industry not manage its facility before this standard? What was the lackness at that time?
See, basically before this standard, when the organization were managing their facility by their own procedures, so there was a difference of a systematic framework. So these ISO standards are giving you a systematic framework. For example, before the publishment of the standard, I am not saying that the people were not maintaining the facilities. Might be they were maintaining the facilities, but these ISO standards are giving you a systematic, internationally developed framework by which you can manage your facilities in more appropriate manner. And it is not only about the facilities, it's about the people as well. Train your people, make your people competent. So as an integral part, It is an international framework in order to improve your facility management system, and ultimately it has a competitive advantage as compared to the internal management systems.
One more question. What is the difference between asset management system and facility management?
See, when we talk about the asset management system, in asset management system, the human resource can also come into asset. The raw material which we are using is also coming into the asset. Our transportation services is also coming into our asset. Now there are two type of assets: tangible assets and intangible assets. For example, if we are signing a contract with the customer, this contract is our asset as well. As far as if we go to the facility management system, so there is a different scope. In facility management system, facility means a place, a entity, a building or a equipment which is being used for a particular purpose. So this is the difference between these two things.
Mr. Ahmed, one last question. What is the difference if an organization is having quality management certificate like ISO 9001 2015 and having facility management certificate ISO 41027 2018 version?
See, basically, there is a difference of the scope of both standards. When we talk about the quality management system, the philosophy of the quality management system, ISO 9001 2015, is focused on process conformity, product conformity, and customer satisfaction. And when we talk about the facilities management system, ISO 41001 2018, the philosophy and the framework of this management system is to implement, maintain, and sustain the facilities of the organization in order to improve your system.
One last question, Mr. Ahmed. How to see the quality management system and facility management system?
Can you please clarify the question?
Like how to see the quality management and facility management? Half question, it's all right.
Yes, if this is the question same as the last question, so it is already replied, but I'm not getting the point how to see. Can you please ask the delegate to please elaborate the question if he can?
Just 1 second.
Shazib, can you please
What?
check the YouTube chat? There are
Yes,
many
yes,
questions.
I'm like checking. One more question. What is the difference between the QMS and FSMS? It's a
It is already replied.
can we apply standard on labor camp?
Yes, 100%. When if you talk about the organization, so labor camp is one of the critical facility. So labor camp, when labor camp is coming under your facility, so you can apply this standard into this facility management, 100%.
Okay, Mr. Ahmed, there is one more question. What is the best time to develop, implement facility management system in an organization? In the beginning, when the location and the analysis are being done at the time of construction, or we can apply this standard anytime?
Basically, there are two things. For example, if you are making and initiating any facility, so it is the best time to implement and evaluate this facility management system. And when this facility will be in working, so there will be a time to continually improving and monitoring a system. But it is not stopping you. For example, if you have a facility which has already been developed, so you can implement this in the middle of the facility as well. There is no particular requirement that when to implement the standard. But if you talk about the most effective time, it is a time when the organization is developing any facility.
Okay, thank you. One more question. How can we integrate this standard with other ISO management system standards, for example, 9001, 45,000 and 14,001 standard?
Very, very nice question. See, when we talk about the ISO standards, so now what ISO have done, ISO have harmonized the structure of the standards like same. For example, if you talk about the all 9001 standard, quality, environment, and facility management, the clause number 5.2 is the clause of policy. Yes, the content in the clause is different, but the heading of the clause is same, integrated. 5.2 means quality policy, 5.2 means environment policy, 5.2 means facility management policy. So if you have the QMS and environment management system already implemented in your organizations, so you can just integrate the requirement of facility management into your current system in order to integrate. No, there is no need to develop a separate policy. There is no need to develop a separate risk assessment. There is no need to develop a separate objective. You can just put the facility management system requirements into your current objectives to make them integrated system. Simple.
Shazib, do you have any other question?
One more question. How is facility management system connected with safety management system?
When we talk about the facility management system, it has a indirect relation with the safety management system. See, when we talk about the facility can include the proper buildings, proper equipments, proper machineries, and to manage them. For example, now if your machinery and your equipment is not properly managed, so it have a indirect risk of the health and safety of the worker who is operating that machinery as well. So it is linked with the health and safety standard.
One more question. Can facility management be applied to roads and infrastructure?
Yes, it can be applied. It can be applied to any facility. It can be applied to any organization. But one thing is very critical: when any organization is going to apply this facility management system, they need to define the scope. That what is the scope on which they are implementing this management system.
Next question. Can we apply this standard in food industry?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Next question. What is the time frame of completion in applying ISO 41001 facility management system, including awareness training session and internal audit?
Normally it takes 3 to 4 months. Normally, I'm telling you with respect to my experience, because the time frame differs and it varies organization to organization. Some organizations are very strong system in place, so they take less time. Some organizations are just starting up, so they take more time. But as per my experience, the average time is like 3 to 4 months.
One more question. Facility management is helpful in underwriting fire and property insurance.
100%. If you manage, if for example, if you are taking your organization building as a facility, okay, and if you are implementing the controls to manage this facility, so yes, it will be having a very good impact on the insurance as well
One more
with
question.
respect to premiums.
Okay. How can we apply 41001 in catering system?
Yes.
Okay. Next question. What is the value of ISO 41001?
Sorry.
Uh,
Means they are asking about the benefits.
yes.
Yes, obviously the benefit is that your facilities are very well managed. Second thing, you have a confidence that you are implementing the international management system standard, which is given by ISO. Third is your system is verified by a third party, independent party, and you will be having a competitive advantage when you participate in any tender or any government, any bidding. So it will be giving you a competitive advantage, obviously.
Uh, Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed, for giving the precious time.
Thank you so much to you as well, Mr. Anas as well, and all the participants. And I wish you best of luck in your future and stay safe.
Uh, Hello, guys. Once thank you everyone for attending the webinar. We will now be sharing the exam link in the webinar group. You will have 15 minutes to solve this exam and submit. Some bullets point. If you will pass the exam with 100% marks, then you will receive the certificate of free of cost. If you will get 15% and above in exam, so you can get the certificate of attendance with a minimum payment of USD 15 or equivalent. Please note that exam received after 15 minutes of time, then these will not be entertained. I will share the exam paper on webinar group.
Okay, guys, we are now stop sharing the YouTube live session, and it's time to end our webinar. And the examination link is going to share on our WhatsApp webinar groups, and you will have 15 minutes for it. And if you have any other questions, you can ask the admins of WhatsApp group. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for trainer as well. Hope to see you soon in some other webinars. All the best and keep in touch. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and join our Facebook page. Thank you so much. Good night. All the best.